No microphones yet.
It's 8:30. I hereby call this work session to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Now we'll have the oath of office for City Council, Post 4. Michael, join me at the podium. Repeat after me. I, Michael Polachek, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute my duties of City Council Member, Post 4 of the City of Peachtree City, Georgia. I will uphold my responsibilities with integrity, dedication, and diligence to serve our citizens to the best of my ability. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Georgia, and the Charter of the City of Peachtree City. I do further swear that I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due to this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof. That I am not the holder of any office of trust or trust under the government of the United States or any other state or any foreign state, which by the laws of the state of Georgia I am prohibited from holding, and that I am otherwise qualified to be a public officer according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Georgia. I duly affirm that I will act at all times in a manner befitting the trust and confidence placed in me by those I serve. I will take pride in all my endeavors and will treat my subordinates, peers, and constituents with respect. So help me God. Congratulations. Get pictures?
Quick group picture. Let's do one of the family and then I'll do one with the mayor. All right, guys, big smile. Big smiles. 1, 2, and 3. Take a couple more here. 1, 2, and 3. And the mayor, can I have you come in?
Then I'll have my sister and mom come up.
By the way, the agenda that you sent out last week is different than the one that's online.
2 and 3. All right, and then you said
Well,
you have to
that was- whoever sent it out, the city sent it out, but it's different than the one that's online. I was lucky to have, Suzanne called me and goes, "Did you know there was a change?" I said, "What?" Right, but that's, it got rearranged.
All right, there.
You're right.
1, 2, 3. Just gonna take a bunch here. One more. 1, 2,
Okay,
and
good.
3.
sure this is off. Yep.
That's fine, I just texted.
Suzanne.
I just texted.
Next on our agenda is selection and oath of office, Mayor Pro Tem. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we have Suzanne Brown serve as our mayor pro tem.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Brown, meet me at the podium.
You want me to hold it, Susan?
Yes, please. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Suzanne Brown,
I, Suzanne Brown,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
my duties of Mayor Pro Tem
my duties of Mayor Pro Tem
of the City of Peachtree City, Georgia.
of the City of Peachtree City, Georgia.
I will uphold my responsibilities
I will uphold my responsibilities
with integrity,
with integrity,
dedication, and diligence
dedication, and diligence
to serve our
to
citizens
serve our citizens
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will support and defend
I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Georgia,
the Constitution of the State of Georgia,
and the Charter of the City of Peachtree City.
and the Charter of the City of Peachtree City.
I do further swear
I do further swear
that I am not the holder
that I am not the holder
of any unaccounted for public money
of any unaccounted for public money
due this state
due this state
or any political subdivision
or any political subdivision
or authority thereof,
or authority thereof,
that I am not the holder
that I am not the holder
of any office or trust
of any office or trust
under the government of the United States,
under the government of the United States,
any other state,
any other state,
or any foreign state,
or any foreign state,
which by the laws
which by the laws
of the state of Georgia,
of the state of Georgia,
I am prohibited from holding,
I am prohibited from holding,
and that I am otherwise qualified
and that I am otherwise qualified
to be a public officer
to be a public officer
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the state of Georgia.
and laws of the state of Georgia.
I duly affirm
I duly affirm
that I will act in all times
that I will act in all times
in a manner befitting
in a manner befitting
the trust and confidence
the trust and confidence
placed in me
placed in me
by those I serve.
by those I serve.
I will take pride
I will take pride
in all my
in
endeavors
all my endeavors
and will treat my
and
subordinates,
will treat my subordinates,
peers, and constituents
peers, and constituents
with respect.
with respect.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and thank you. Couple of signatures.
Could we grab a quick picture, please? Yeah, we'll do all three. All right, big smiles, guys. 1, 2, and 3. Take a bunch here. And one more. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you so much.
Public comment? Thank you, and I can hardly hear that microphone.
Yeah.
Thank you. Agenda changes, council?
Nope.
None. And we do have Laura Johnson with us today. She might not be on the cameras, but she is down below, and she is voting, as always. Consent agenda items A through J. May I get a motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I'll make a motion that consent agenda items A through J be approved.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Work session discussion item A, personnel policy revisions. Dr. Tia Alston-Big.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and Council. This item before you are recommendations to revise our current personnel policy for our city employees. We have quite a few here, and I want to just go through these at high level. If you do have any questions, I'm happy to take those. So the first item is emergency pay. Our policy that speaks to how we govern ourselves in the event of extended emergencies. The change here is to provide double pay for all hours worked for our employees. Our promotions policy, we want to revise that to allow city employees to be promoted during their probationary period if there is an opportunity, and that helps us to improve our flexibility for hiring and retention as well, and selection of the best city employee for these vacancies. We also want to revise our merit pay policy so that a promotion no longer disqualifies someone from receiving a merit increase. This also helps with retention, but more so with morale. And it also encourages our employees to try to, or, basically submit for a vacancy to be promoted. Helps them, encourage them to do that when we improve this policy. We also want to revise our disciplinary policy. We had 2 levels of oral discipline in our policy that just doesn't make sense, and so we want to eliminate 1 level of oral counseling. It's the same thing as an oral reprimand, and this also brings us in line with clear enforcement, as well as having a solid documentation trail for discipline. Our police overtime policy, we are revising this to 84 hours instead of 86 hours. We're currently operating in this manner already, and we just want to make sure that the language in the policy reflects that. Field training officer pay, we are recommending 1 additional hour for each day of field training, and that recognizes the training workload as well for those field training officers. Take-home vehicles, we're recommending that the charges to our city employees are to be removed, which is also currently how we're operating. We just want to make sure the language reflects that. And we also updated some positions in that policy as well that currently have take-home vehicles already. Bereavement leave, this policy initially stated calendar days for bereavement leave, and we want to change that to hours because we have different shift personnel. And so that also helps us to be in line with our clarity of our policy and practicality of our policy. We have also recommended to add Juneteenth as a holiday to keep us in line with the federal calendar as well. And then lastly, our retirement awards and parties policy, we increased those values due to inflationary adjustment. And so we want to make sure that we account for that. And we think we have done that with this policy rewrite. So if you have questions on any of those recommendations, what I will say is that these recommendations help to bring us in line with, I will say, best practices, helps to bring us in line with legal compliance, and as well as give us a competitive advantage as a city as it relates to recruiting and retention.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Tabb, is there anything in here that is unusual or aberrant?
Absolutely not. I will say that we've done extensive research on these policies as well as partnered with our directors and assistant directors for their feedback as it relates to operations. And so most of these revisions, to me, were long overdue. But again, it also brings us in line with current day local government practices and again, just helps us to stand out and just to be, in legal compliance. We always want to be in legal compliance with any policy update. I don't think any of these recommendations from an HR opinion are, far-fetched or out of line or anything, way over and above what, our target market, other cities are doing. So we just
Thank
want to
you.
bring ourselves up to speed.
All right, council, any questions?
I have just one comment.
Yes, sir.
Most of us were on holidays for the last couple of weeks. This shows up in our mail like, oh my gosh, 140 pages of documents we had to read and digest, of which your portion was 21 pages. I think it's 21 or 22 pages of fine print. I would suggest that I don't have a problem with them per se at this point. I've read them only once, but I do know I'll have questions on them that I don't think we want to get into here. We may get into with the city manager after the meeting. So I do appreciate you doing a lot of work. It's just a nice surprise when you come back from the holidays, when you haven't done any work, and then on that Monday, you get this document of 140 pages, and be ready. So just for next year, maybe.
Thank you.
That's the only comment I had.
Do you have any questions so far?
Not at this point. I will have them, though, but I don't have them. I haven't had the time to really digest everything because it came as a surprise.
Any other comments, council?
Yeah, I do. I had several questions with regard to the change in the take-home vehicle issue and got an email from Justin explaining some of the things that had happened. It's a little nebulous in the email with regard to exactly when some of the stuff was changed. Here's my overarching issue with all of this. When we have a written policy in place, if there is a decision that's made anywhere along the trail that we're going to do something that's contrary to what's in the written policy, then either I think we need to change the written policy to reflect what's going on at that time, as opposed to stockpiling all of these changes until we have enough that it comes forward as, a major document change like this. Maybe in the days when things were not done as electronically as they are now and as easy to change, maybe stockpiling things before policies were changed in writing and then having them printed up to hand out to staff. I don't know what the reasoning was in the past, but I know now it's so easy to change a policy, to bring it to council one at a time as something comes up and something needs to be modified. That way, the council that decides that this needs to be changed, it gets done in public on the dais. The policy gets changed in writing to reflect all the changes, and then there's no dispute like me finding out that the take-home vehicle policy of the employees having to pay, that was changed during a former city manager. That's quite a while. That's a long time to have the written policy not reflect what we're doing. And to me, that's not acceptable. But I think we can fix that very easily by just making the changes as they occur.
I agree with that. As I think I stated
Yeah.
in my email too,
I
that I
know.
agree with that.
It's-
I do not want to do that moving forward, and that's
That's why we have a shopping list of all these things that need to be upgraded in a manual, and it's really just
Yes.
an awful lot to look at and kind of come to grips with. And, it's not like, oh, well, we need to change this. It's like, no, we changed this quite a while ago. We just didn't codify this into the policy.
And that's one of the
So-
reasons we're bringing it forward, Councilwoman, too, is because for me, I want it to reflect
Right.
what we're actually doing, right? Is I don't want to sweep that
Right.
under
When
the
we-
rug per se or anything like that.
Right.
I want to actually reflect.
If we change a policy, we change it.
I agree.
That's it.
Comments, Ms. Johnson?
No, I think any questions that I had on this were answered previously, so I would be in support.
Mr. Polachek?
Likewise, thank you.
All right, can we be ready, Mr. Howland, in January 15th meeting?
That really depends upon this guy to my right here, if he can answer the questions and get the
Yeah,
information.
I'll be happy to
If you're
sit down
doing
with
that,
you.
You're in town and everything?
Oh, yeah, I'll be.
Okay, then the answer to that is yes.
All right, do you want to just table this until our January 15th meeting then?
Do you
Well,
wanna make a
we aren't
motion?
asking for a motion. It's just a discussion
Right.
item.
Okay,
So your
no
recommendation
motion
is to
necessary.
approve.
I know, but
Alright.
it's meant to be a discussion item and then voted on next meeting.
All right, that's fine, thank you. We'll revisit in January 15th's city council meeting. Appreciate it. Work session discussion item B, introduction to upcoming text amendments. Shayla Reed.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Okay,
There we
good
go.
morning.
Alrighty. So before you, there are 6 updates on various text amendments that we have either been in discussion with directly with you, or 2 that we're bringing to you as an introduction today. Just to give you insight, I have provided in the staff report, there is a summary of each item. Councilman Boyd. Summary. Gotcha. Apologies about that. Okay, so there are 6 items before you. The first 4 are items you've heard of, and the latter 2 are going to be ones that I introduced to you tonight. The very first one is the sign ordinance. So we've discussed that about how parapet is defined and how it allows for roof signs at this time. The Planning Commission has provided a recommendation for you, and we're scheduled to bring that before you in the next couple of council meetings so that we can finalize that text amendment. And you'll see that I've given the status in bold, so that'll help with the conversation. The cosmetic tattoo and microblading, that has gone before the Planning Commission, and they're ready to bring their recommendation to you, and that is in the upcoming meeting as well. So those 2 are ready for action, and we'll bring that in the next few council meetings. The next 2 items are currently with the Planning Commission and not ready to move forward at this time. That will be native and invasive plants. They're still discussing those items, and you'll see that at their Planning Commission meeting, they're still figuring out the language for that, and we're allowing for that to give it a little bit more time on that one for native and invasive. Next, you'll see the short-term rental. That is an item that is coming up to the Planning Commission for their consideration that you have initiated back in August, and we'll be moving that one forward in their January meeting. And the latter 2 are 2 new items, so I'll give a little bit more introduction and information on those to give a little background. So the parking ordinance, the Planning Commission has asked that I'll speak loud. The Planning Commission has asked that we consider there be an opportunity for short-term rental. Sorry, I said short-term, I meant parking. The Planning Commission has asked that we give consideration for golf cart parking in our parking ordinance. We do not currently regulate golf cart parking, and they feel that if we're connecting or making a requirement to connect to commercial properties for our paths, we should also allow for there to be regulations to allow for at least, they mentioned a recommendation of 5 parking spaces for golf carts. So they are asking to bring that to you to allow for there to be an opportunity for you to initiate that if you're interested in moving that one forward. The latter one is one where we found that proposed developments have had an opportunity where we're seeing LED lighting to be proposed in new developments. Our code currently restricts that. However, that is the new standard for lighting. We've seen that over the last at least close to a decade. So our code has not been updated during that time to allow for there to be LED lighting. So staff is asking for there to be an opportunity to initiate that particular text amendment as well. Madam Mayor, that concludes my report.
Can I ask you a couple of questions?
Of course, yes, ma'am.
There is a possibility that because the way the calendar falls in February during our winter break, that we might pull the February 19th meeting ahead by a week. Can we still accommodate that on these 2 items, the cosmetic microblading and also the short-term rental?
Yes, ma'am, we would just need to advertise now.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do that.
I have one more question. The UDO committee, will they be addressing like golf cart parking and LED lighting as part of this whole project?
Yes, ma'am, that was actually what they called a kind of like a quick win for them. That was one of the items that they felt we couldn't wait until the adoption of the UDO. So they wanted to identify some of the projects that we could have as a text amendment now before the actual UDO's adoption. So yes, ma'am, that was brought to them for that reason.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Council,
ma'am.
any questions?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I got a couple of questions. When it comes to the short-term rental, are we in time for the rentals to be put out there for people in our city who want to rent their properties for the upcoming World Cup? Is it, I see you've got it February 19th approval. Is that still enough time
Yes.
for the county to take care of it?
That's over the summertime, so we do have enough time now. So we'll be moving really quickly.
Perfect.
It's in the planning commission this month and council for the following month.
Good. That's question one. Question two, I like the idea of the golf cart parking.
Okay.
But there are other mobility issues here in this city. And I'd like to at least highlight that if you're going to be able to put in parking for golf carts, there's no reason why at that same time you can put in some type of bike racks so that people riding their bicycles, they can park maybe in front of the golf carts, and there's a bike rack there. So I just want to make sure we include all the people in this city, not just those who ride golf carts, but also who ride bicycles. And as you know, there's quite a few people in this city that do ride bicycles. So
Yes, sir.
if they could include that, I mean, it's not a big deal, but
Yes,
it's
sir.
something that is going to service those people who ride bicycles in the city, to have a place to park their bicycles.
That's a great inclusion. I failed to mention that the city manager actually asked that we look for the entire parking ordinance to see where there's amendments needed for the entire area.
Okay, that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
All right, any other questions, council?
No, I was just wondering whether or not there was anything, there's no part or portion of this that we have to do a consensus on to move forward or to put in front of the council? Because the way the one was worded, I forget which one it was now. Do we need to do a consensus on
The latter two.
the latter two? Okay.
Ye-
So
Yeah.
that would be the parking one and the LED lighting.
Yeah, we're asking, asking for a potential motion either today or at the next meeting to initiate the text amendment process.
You need a motion for that?
On those two items
on those
only,
two. The other ones have been initiated already by you all.
but even now that I brought up a suggestion on adding the bicycle parking there, is that going to slow down the process, or do you just say an amended with a bicycle
I don't even need to
parking?
say that because all you're doing is initiating text amendments to the parking ordinance and to the lighting ordinance.
Okay,
Can I
And
get
then-
a so
And then it goes
moved?
to planning to discuss.
so moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
So
Work
we just
session.
moved those two forward to
the planning
the next planning.
Work
Perfect.
session, discussion item C, Crosstown Tunnels Design. Dave Borkowski.
Good morning, Dave Morkowski, City Engineer. I think this project will, a lot of people are going to be happy to see this moving forward. So for discussion, one of the 2023 SPLOST projects was to evaluate our existing corrugated metal tunnels in the city, and specifically, they emphasized the ones on Crosstown. Most folks probably know them by the Taco Bell tunnel and the Regions Bank tunnel, to be looked at and potentially replaced with bigger, wider tunnels. So we started by doing a feasibility study for these two tunnels to see if it was possible to put bigger tunnels in. And the feasibility study did come back and said that we would be able to do this without significantly, raising the road profile for Crosstown. So that was a good thing. The feasibility study estimated this to be about 1.4 million for construction. So the next step in this process would be for us to actually do the actual engineering design and everything and create construction plans. So during this phase, we're going to survey it. We're going to do all the necessary hydraulic modeling and stuff, because these things are practically in the floodplain where they're located, and we're going to redo the path connections to them to make them better, because I think everybody knows how goofy the entrances are to some of these tunnels. So we're going to fix that and whatnot, and make them ADA compliant. So we've been working with Pond and Company on this because they're one of our associated transportation engineering firms that we've worked with, and we would like them to do the design for these. They gave us a proposal for $300,000 to do this for these two tunnels with an expected timeline of 12 to 18 months. And as I said previously, these projects are funded in the SPLOST, the 2023 SPLOST for the tunnels themselves, and then the for Project 28 and the 2023 SPLOST. So we will be bringing this back next council meeting for an official vote. This is just a heads up of what we would like to do and answer any questions that y'all may have.
All right, if I may, the design is 300,000, that's for the pair of them. That's for both of them?
Sorry, what was that again?
That's okay, the $300,000 design is for two of them.
Yes, for both.
And the 1.4 million is each?
Yes, yes.
And these are concrete box tunnels then?
Yes, we're looking at yes, replacing with concrete about 14 foot wide.
Will the ceiling height of the concrete box tunnels match the existing highest point of these corrugated tunnels?
They'll be higher. They'll be 8 foot tall. That's kind of the bicycle standard, is to be 8 foot so that you can get through without knocking your head off.
Okay, and they always, when I'm running, they always have water in them. Are we're going to be able to address the drainage issues?
Yes, we want to get water out of them more efficiently than what they're doing right now.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Council?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I've got a question that maybe you can answer. Is the number of carts that we have in the city that cannot fit through the existing tunnels, what is that as a percentage of the total number of carts that we have?
We don't know. I mean, we don't know how high people's golf carts are. I mean, there's a good many now that they're coming out with the higher golf carts. People raise them.
Correct. I figured that was going to be the answer. The reason I bring it up is we've got, 12,000 carts in the city, something like that? Maybe we have 5% or less of the very large golf carts. Maybe less than 5%. I'm just estimating. That's why I asked that question. But now we're going to spend $3.1 million to fix those tunnels so that the big carts can go through. Where what about the other 85% of the carts that need golf cart paths on the east side, where we're missing golf cart paths over there, in the north side, and some on the south side that need to be built? We're prioritizing building tunnels instead of taking care of golf carts for the 95% of the golf carts that are on the road or on the path today. Seems like it's a little disparaging.
So here's the answer to that. It's a
issue.
SPOS project.
That's okay.
So it
We don't
has
have to
to be
spend it
done.
right away, do we?
But you have to do it. It's
But
never going
can we use that money to build
No.
some of the cart paths that's only for tunnels?
This is only for tunnels. This specific project is improvements for corrugated metal path tunnels, for existing corrugated metal tunnels to be upgraded to double-sided ones. And here's the reason. It's not because of the reason for this project back in the SPOS, because I was with the group, is not for higher golf carts. That's not the reason for these projects. The reason for this project is because especially the Taco Bell tunnel is one of the most heavily trafficked tunnels in the city. It actually has the same numbers as the McDonald's tunnel we did traffic counts when we prioritized this. The Taco Bell tunnel has the same amount of traffic going through it as the tunnel that goes under 74 at McDonald's. And it's very dangerous. It's only 6 foot 6 inches high. I have to lower my head when I walk through it. Even lower golf carts scrape the top of it when they go under it. You would know that,
I do know
Councilwoman
that.
Brown. And
I've scraped it.
yeah, I have too. And really, it's for sight distances because you can't. The Taco Bell tunnel and the other tunnel in Crosstown, you cannot. You're gambling when you go down to them to see if anybody else is coming, and making them double wide and where you can see as you're approaching them just makes it so much safer, and it allows people to cross without having cross each other. without having to go one at a time, back their carts up, just because of the volume that go through these tunnels. It's not about the height of the carts at all. That wasn't even, I don't even think that was discussed when we were prioritizing this project on the SPOS, with the SPOS group.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I do. I want to follow up on this. In the issue of prioritization, this one has come out of the blue, in my opinion, where we've been talking about fixing and building golf cart paths all over the city, which we've been waiting for certainly 5, 6, 7 years. And now all of a sudden, we're going to be building tunnels or fixing tunnels. I just think the prioritization might be a little askew.
No, the approach is this is for design of the tunnels. It's not for construction yet. And the paths you're talking about on the east side and Sumner Road and some of these other paths that we prioritize that aren't SPOSed, they all are already in design or already finished design, and we're acquiring property. So the east side paths are happening, like they're in design. So then those are SPOSed as well. They're different ones. So, I mean, this is for design, and all the other ones that you're discussing are also in design already.
Okay, a matter of prioritization, at least in my opinion, but that's why we have a council of 5.
They're being prioritized as well.
All right, any other council member comments?
No, I ripped my rainfly on the one, so.
We all have.
Yeah, so.
Just had
I
one
mean, I
stuck
understand the
last week.
importance of it. I, like Clint, wondered where in the grand pecking order this really should fall. But the fact that it's a specific SPOS line item is a different measure for me, so.
Well, as someone who utilized those tunnels as a kid, riding a Taco Bell, it's the same exact tunnel. And you know, when I was growing up here, we didn't have raised golf carts. I know raised golf carts isn't one of the factors, but even if we say it's 5% today, I'm thinking about 10 to 20 years from now when we may even have more enhancements to golf carts that we're not prepared for, we don't envision right now. So as from an infrastructure standpoint on the core feature of Peachtree City, I find it as a very necessary improvement, and hopefully there's more tunnels that we can improve in the future. Thanks.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yeah, I would say likewise. If you lived here in the 90s, there was a flood like we never saw, and that tunnel was full to the top. It was a river through there. So, I mean, I think all of us, I can't go through that tunnel without, hitting my rain fly, and I'm happy to see that this is being addressed.
All right. Item next, work session discussion item D, Transportation Improvement Program Grant Application, grade separated crossing to connect Booth and McIntosh High School areas. Dave Borkowski.
Yes, this project, the ARC, they put out a call for transportation projects last month for their upcoming fiscal years, 27 and 28. And specifically, they're requesting scoping studies or construction projects that have intersection safety or pedestrian related things with them. In addition, they specified that the construction projects need to cost at least $4 million. So we, in wanting to apply for this grant, we reviewed our projects and basically went through all of the SPOS projects and all of our other projects to see what would meet these requirements. We came up with the SPOS project for the bridge crossing for connecting Booth Middle and McIntosh High School. So we would like to apply for that project for a grant. The grant window closes January 23rd, so it's kind of tight, and we've got several things that we will need to submit. And one of them is a resolution of support from City Council, and we included a draft in your packet. We anticipate total project cost of around $10 million with a local match of $2 million. And this would include this total cost would include the bridge and the path connections to the bridge all the way to the Peachtree East Shopping Center. So that's why the cost is so high. And since they're SPOS projects, we'll have money available for the match. Fayette County has graciously agreed to sponsor the city in this application. We'll basically do all the work with the assistance of a consultant. Did my mic? And the county will function as the funding agency to distribute the money to the city from the ARC. There's actually two SPLOST projects. The bridge is in the 23 SPLOST, and the cart path connections are in the 2017 SPLOST. There will be adequate funding for the bridge match, but we may need to transfer some funding from the 2017 SPLOST contingency just to cover that portion of the project. So at the next meeting, we'll bring this back for to request official approval of submitting a grant application. Were there any questions on this at all?
Council, questions?
The only question I have is, if there's still money left from the 2017 SPLOST, can you find out before we sit down and make a decision how much contingency money there is remaining in that, so that we know what we're pulling out of there and what still remains?
Yes, we can work with finance on that.
I think I already have a spreadsheet on it, but yeah, I'll send it to you.
Any other questions, council?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I've got a comment to make and see if there's an answer to it, this comment. Most of these type of funding and grants are tied to a number of questions that are asked in the grant application. One of them that is asked is the safety issue. And in this case, obviously, it's a bridge that's going to connect two schools. But they also look for proof. Why do you need that? Is there or are there crash data at that and around that area between golf carts and pedestrians and Highway 54 that we can include in this document to show that, yes, there's a safety issue here, not just a convenience issue of getting students from one side of the street to the other side of the street in a short distance. So if there's some type of crash data or accidents or whatever you're calling them, to put into the document, that will help to strengthen our position so that we can get this. I understand that's the way the feds do it when it comes to federal loans. They look for
Yes.
crash data. Do we have that, Dave?
Yes, if you recall, a few weeks ago or a month or so ago, we worked with the county with the Safe Streets for All program. And one of the things that came out of that was that corridor was listed as I can't remember the name of it, high impact corridor or something, that relates to pedestrians and safety and things like that. So we'll be including that in the
You will include that into the
in the
document. Okay,
application,
so
yeah, yeah.
there is a safety aspect that is being put into this. That was
Yes.
really my general thought on this. So thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I had a
Councilmember.
question. Would a decision today help the process if you're on a time constraint versus in our next meeting? I mean, if he's saying,
Sure.
I think it's
Sure.
if
time.
he's saying the deadline was what, January
23rd.
23rd?
23rd.
I mean, I wonder if we just move forward with this one.
You all can vote on this tonight.
All right.
We can vote on the resolution also?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. Madam Mayor, you want me to make a motion? for
Please,
this?
yeah.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the resolution that is attached to this document
And grant application.
and grant application inclusive of the crash data that I brought up to make sure that's in there so that we can get this completed in time.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Work session discussion item E, resolution, TIP grant application for the State Road 54 corridor study.
Yes, this is a second application along the same thread as the previous one with going through the ARC and the TIP funding. This one is specifically for just a scoping study / traffic study for the 54 corridor, basically going from Fayetteville all the way to into Coweta County on 54, we're working with Fayette County. Fayette County is taking the lead on this particular grant application and partnering with us, Fayetteville, Fayette County, Coweta County, and whatnot. So several jurisdictions will be involved in this, and we basically have to do the same resolution of support for it. We don't have a complete cost of this study at this point. In talking with the county, we're thinking it's going to be around $500,000 for the study, split among several jurisdictions. So the match should not be significant for us, but we're wanting to move forward with this project as well. Were there any questions on this?
Similar to the previous discussion item, would it be helpful to have a motion today?
You know that this has been a pet project of mine for a very long time, and I have been pushing this, so I'm so glad that we brought it to this point. So I'm certainly in favor of this to move forward. And Madam Mayor, do you want me to make the motion too?
Please.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution and the grant study for the project. Has it got a number on it yet? I'll just say the Transportation Improvement Plan grant application for the State Road 54 corridor study.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Next, item F, Public Participation Ordinance. Before we start, Council, what do you want? You want to make it 4 minutes and eliminate the 30, right? I think I've talked to everybody.
I was gonna do a whole presentation. I can bypass that willingly.
If you want 4 minutes and eliminate the 30, then let's just move forward with that. Any comments?
Not at all. I can certainly be in
All right.
favor of that.
What do we need to make that change? Jasmine, Justin?
Just a motion stating such.
You wanna
Change
do
the
that, Ms. Brown?
ordinance.
I'll do the motion. I make a motion that we amend the public participation policy in our charter ordinance to allow that each citizen making a public comment has 4 minutes total, and that the provision that restricts it to 30 minutes be removed completely.
Second.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm looking for the next line item number. Give me 1 second. Next item, HVAC replacement purchases for Fire Station 84. New agenda item A.
Yes, on this one, we're actually, we are requesting a council approval of this today. We would like to replace 2 split systems at our fire station 84. They're definitely in need of replacement. Would like to go through our current mechanical contractor that we had approved at some previous council meeting. The cost of these 2 new split systems is $40,574 through Shoemate Mechanical, and we're just requesting approval to purchase those.
All right. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the purchase of 2 new split systems in the amount of $40,574 from Shoemate Mechanical under the terms of our annual contract.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. New agenda item B, fiscal year 25 budget amendment, Mead Field paving. Jonathan Miller.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. This item is approval of a change order to the paving contract as well as a budget amendment. So staff's prepared cost estimates for not only paving Meadfield Drive and other areas throughout the Mead complex, but also a new road that connects to the lower lot that we've been needing for a long time that comes off of Rockaway Road. The estimates were developed using unit prices from the 2025 paving bid. So we're still using paving prices that we got at the beginning of last year for this project. And then We've completed all of the original contract roads in the paving bid, so those are done. And when you take that into account, what's left in the actual paving bid, and we have a budget amendment to put $595,000 back into the paving bid, that is the LMIG money that we received in that second round. So that's additional paving money we received from the state.
From the ARC, sorry.
No, LMIG, so the local maintenance and improvement grant that we
GDOT.
get, that's usually an annual thing, but the past 2 years, they've done an additional application where we could get additional
GDOT?
funding.
GDOT,
GDOT, got it, thank you.
every year.
So usually we do it once a year, but the past couple, they've had extra funding, so we've applied for those second,
Thank you.
hits. So with that and what's left in the actual paving bid, after everything's completed, is about right under $1 million. To complete the projects at Meade, it's about 1.3 million. So we're asking for council to approve the budget amendment and also approve a $400,000 change order to Atlanta Paving to complete those projects.
Council, any questions?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I've got a question. On this one, we have that new entrance on the south side going in. I remember discussions on that in previous councils, that was going to be adjacent to the building of the townhomes that are in the property that's along Rockaway Road. And I also remember that there was going to be discussions to split the cost of that particular portion of the road between the townhome developer and the city. I don't remember any conclusion to that discussion.
I believe
Justin has it.
Justin has.
That's still going to happen. I think it was after the retreat last year where we talked about this, and I did go back and talk with Richard Ferry with Scarborough. They did agree to pay for part of the driveway because the way it was designed last year was they would also do a curb cut off of Rockaway. We as a city wanted to eliminate that curb cut because we don't want, curb cuts every 100 feet from each other. So they did decide to redesign and come off of our new driveway once we construct it. We did ask them about possibly them doing the paving for us. Got with Ted, really couldn't do that.
I'm the problem.
But I think it's cheaper with us using Atlanta Paving. It's going to be cheaper for us to use our contractor than have them do it. So what we're going to do, I've already talked with Richard Ferry, we're going to go back to them and eventually bring an agreement before you all for them to reimburse us for their portion of the driveway. So yes, they are going to reimburse us.
So it's not split, it's just a partial reimbursement.
It's going to be based on, I think, what we decided to base it on when we talked with them was how much they're going to have to pay for that curb cut they were originally going to have that led into the apartments. Take how much that would have cost and put it towards our driveway, which was a couple $100,000. So they will be giving us a portion of that driveway reimbursed in an agreement.
Question for Ted. Are we on legal grounds here that we're going to be having, other than verbal conversations, something that's going to be we're going to be getting transporting money over to us?
If they're gonna wanna use our access point, which they are going to need to, then we're gonna have the agreement ironed out. And if they don't, then
We won't grant them.
we won't grant them the use and the access.
Well, if that would then, they'd be back trying to get another curb cut for
Correct.
their own. That would
Correct.
be the other side of this.
Right, which we control.
Yeah, we also could deny that.
But ultimately, there was no way with the Public Works bidding law to fit it into them doing the work without bidding it out.
Agreed, but as far as their portion of payment is what I was really looking for. And that was what we originally had talked about, is going to split it. But it's not going to be split. We'll get a portion of it back.
I don't know, because we aren't done with the negotiations yet.
Okay, so should we move this forward without that negotiations done? And that's a
Yeah.
council question.
Yeah, we've got it covered. We're legally protected.
I think so, only because we'll do, one way or the other, we need to build this road for access
Okay.
to the park. What we get back later we'll figure out. But ultimately, they're gonna need the access. So I feel pretty good about what we're doing.
So if they don't comply with us, we can deny them access through
Well,
there?
They're gonna have to deal with a curb cut, and that's gonna require some engineering aspects to it.
Okay.
I don't wanna say that we could flat out deny it, but there would have to be some grounds to do so.
Okay.
And I'm not an engineer.
Talking with them, I'll tell you, they want to come out of the new driveway. That's what they want. And we will negotiate with them about what they will pay. We already have a little, but we haven't finalized it, like Ted said.
Justin, did they indicate why they wanted to use our driveway instead of a dedicated one?
Not having to do, I think they agree with us that doing a curb cut up there doesn't make sense for traffic.
All right, council, any other questions? We have the recommendation in our council packet on page 104. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve agenda item 01-26-02, budget amendment, fiscal year 25 budget amendment for Mead Field paving in the amount of $400,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1. Thank you. New agenda item C, appointment of board member to the Fayette County Development Authority. I have Jasmine, I have your name next to that.
That's correct, yes, Mayor. In council, we are asking for council to approve a designee to serve on FCDA. The current board member, Jim Cool, his term ended on October 1st. However, the bylaws does state that the mayor and council shall appoint one taxpayer residing in Peachtree City to serve on the FCDA for a term of 4 years. So this individual, once you all appoint, we will notify FCDA and they will serve the remaining time of because no one was appointed, Jim has continued to serve, but as of this time, we're asking for you all, if you're ready to to vote on a designee to serve.
Thank you. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Councilman Clint Holland to the FCDA for a term of 4 years or the remaining term of 4 years.
I guess I can second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Motion fails 2-3. Can I get a different motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we appoint Virginia Gibbs to be the board member for the Fayette County Development Authority.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries 3-2. Thank you very much. Public hearing, A, variance request from rear setback 103 Harris Halt. Shayla Reed.
I'll do the protocol afterwards, Mayor.
Good morning again, Mayor and Council. The item before you is a variance at 103 Harris Halt. The property is zone R1 Single Family Residential, as shown here on the map. You're seeing here on the site plan where the home has been constructed. It was constructed, as your staff report identifies, back in 1976, I believe is the date. During that time, we have identified that we believe that the existing deck and porch was constructed during that time in the 70s. We're seeing that there has been no, outside of the building permit, there has been no additional permits or requests for those two different structures. During that time, when it was constructed, it was encroaching into the 30-foot setback that was required back in the 70s. They have asked for a new building permit to repair the existing porch and deck as it has aged. And so as a protocol to our policies and procedures, well, to take it back, the ordinance, as a protocol to the ordinance, we have to ensure that everything is existing is within compliance, which is why the applicant has asked that we reduce the 30-foot setback requirement for this structure for the rear to 17. Here you're going to see where that aged porch and deck is shown for the site. And that concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
And the protocol is as follows. When the public hearing is open, members of the council will become hearers. No action on their part is in order until the mayor declares the hearing complete. The city staff has presented the request and has provided an assessment of the compliance of code. The mayor will then allow up to 10 minutes for speakers on each side of the issue to present evidence. No individual member of the public will be given more than 5 minutes to speak. Time limits may only be extended by a majority vote of council and will be divided equally between those supporting and those opposing the issue. The mayor will recognize the applicant and those supporting the issue to present evidence. Remarks will be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Next, the mayor will then recognize those opposing the issue to present evidence for up to 10 minutes. Prior to closing the public hearing, city staff and the public will be given the opportunity to ask questions of either or both sides of the issue. When the mayor and council are assured that the presentation of evidence is complete, the public hearing shall be ended, and the council may then debate the issue and render a decision. All speakers of the public are asked to follow these rules. 1, please wait to be recognized by the mayor. 2, come to the microphone and state your name and neighborhood prior to making remarks. 3, keep individual remarks under 5 minutes and do not repeat comments. And 4, address all comments to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. With the presentation complete, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes, is the applicant here? And do you wish to speak? Sure. You can take the microphone. And you can fix it to be more comfortable. Thank you.
Speak into it and see what
I
happens.
think we've got you.
I'm Debbie Mercado.
No, she's not on.
Well, can you go turn it on?
Hold on. No.
Sure.
I'm Debbie Mercado. I own the house. We had trees hit the deck back in May, so it's actually been damaged. And while looking at that, we determined that there were some code issues. The structure has been there since 1976. We are fixing it, replacing it in the exact same footprint. We just need to be able to do it.
Thank you very much. With that, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll hereby close the public hearing. Council? Questions, comments?
The only comment I'd kind of like to make at this point is there are 5 properties that share a border with this particular property. There are letters of support in the packet from 203 Double Trace and 105 Harris Holt. I would have liked to have seen letters or hear a comment from the other neighbors, but lacking that, we have to proceed.
Yeah.
So,
Any other comments? We're replacing, or she is proposing replacing existing on the existing footprint. To me, that means it's high time. This was built in the 1970s, and we certainly encourage our neighbors to improve their properties. Any other comments, council?
It looked like the homeowner maybe had a comment in response to Councilwoman Brown's comment. Was there something?
Would you like to comment on that? Sure, take the microphone for me.
one more time.
We actually got letters signed from the people on either side, and the lady directly behind me that it's her property line is the 30-foot. The other two don't really, and I didn't ask them. I can get that if needed.
No, that wasn't in the packet though, was it?
2 were
Not
in the
that I
packet,
saw.
I think.
She's,
Came late.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Council, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I mean, just when I was looking at this, I had the question of whether this was existing with the house originally, but you're saying yes, it was. Yeah, I think it was built so far back that we don't necessarily have the paperwork on that, but yeah, agreed. Some of the homes in this area predate our ordinances, and I think this could be one of those situations.
All right. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve public hearing 12604 variance request for rear setback 103 Harris Hall.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you for coming in today. Public hearing B, 12605, variance request for new curb cut, 479 Crabapple Lane. John Schnick.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. My name is John Schnick. I'm the Assistant City Engineer, and I'm here to present on this variance for the curb cut at 479 Crabapple Lane. So you can see here the property is marked with the red dot. It's in zone R43. The property currently has a driveway all the way on the far right side of the image, and they are requesting to put in a new curb cut more centered on their property. This being a collector road, the city ordinances require all curb cuts, all residential curb cuts on collector roads to acquire a variance before being installed. Here are some images provided by the applicant of the view from their current driveway location and the view from the new location. Thank you. And then the last thing I'll mention is that as part of their application, the applicant did obtain a site distance survey from a licensed engineer evaluating the site distance at the new location as opposed to the old. The engineer measured those and also measured a third location approximately in between the existing and the proposed. The third location, or what's mentioned as location 2 in the engineer's report, is the one that meets current requirements for site distance. If council decides to move forward with this variance, staff recommends that you limit it to location 2 as the chosen spot for the curb cut because it meets all the safety requirements.
Okay. Thank you. Is the applicant here? And would you like to speak?
Yes, please. Good morning. My name's Scott Landers.
Could you get closer to the microphone? I can't even
Yeah.
hear you. That's better.
Family property, the original driveway put in 1978. 1978. There was no school, there was no power lines, there was no golf cart path. Unfortunately, now the circumstances are that when you pull up on our driveway in or leaving out, as you get to the path, you have to see to the east, you have to go across the path. So we have had a number of close calls, really more so with golf carts, kids on bikes, because you cannot see due to the elevation, the power lines, the trees, the retaining wall, just the higher elevation. Moving that out is really too much. You got water meters, you'd have to level it all out, you'd have to move the power poles. It's a lot of work. So we also are in a situation where if you look across, we run at Crabapple Elementary School, and the crosswalk there is school time, school traffic. You can't get out left or right of my driveway for about a 30 to 45-minute window. So moving it made sense. We had to wait. We've rezoned. The property had been all rezoned. It was a 10-acre initial spread. We moved it to had I merged 2 lots so that we could then move the driveway, which is when I found out it's a neighborhood collector road requiring some sort of variance. We did the engineering study. We'd like to move it 95 feet. We have about 330 feet of road front. There's not a lot of other neighbors impacted. I got neighbor across the street and next door to us are all in favor. They've built in similar times, and they know what we're up against. I just want to move it 95 feet, although the city engineer mentioned 47 feet. 47 feet just came out of the engineering studies saying that you can meet a 330-foot view east and west, whereas the 95 feet, I can't see 330 feet east, but I think it was 260, 280 feet. Cars are not really an issue for us. I can see as I get out, it's crossing that golf cart path that really is our big concern.
Thank you. I noticed in the council packet, the recommendation from staff was that location 2. Are you agreeable to that?
Better than what I have, so it would be much safer to be moved out. We would like the 95 feet. 47 feet was just a number the engineering report came up with that met a DOT thing, which I don't believe is a written require. I can't imagine many homes in Peachtree City have a 330 feet left or right out of all their driveways.
Is that a yes?
I'll accept that, yes, as long as I can move it from where it's at. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
If you don't mind, stick around.
Since you're there. Or should I wait until?
If you don't mind, go ahead and have a seat, but
until
don't go
after.
far. With that, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I hereby close the public hearing. Councilmember Brown?
Can you step back up to the microphone, please?
Thank you.
I drove past your property, I looked at this, I agree, you guys have definitely got a problem getting out of your driveway, but you're almost directly across the street from the entrance to the elementary school.
Correct.
Okay, so asking the elephant in the room is the elementary school at this point. So would it be better for you to move the full 95 feet away to avoid traffic from the elementary school, even though that's not the best sight vision, whatever?
So moving it 95 feet, what that does is also puts me out of the traffic lines. So even at 47 feet, at school time letting out, I can't get out, I can't go out of my driveway and go east. From my existing driveway. At 47 feet, I still have cars lined up down Crabapple. At 95 feet, I'm past all that, it's level, I can see everything I need to see.
But Crabapple is a 2-lane road. You're still sitting there at traffic time. Is that true?
They line up, they're stacked up on the road both ways.
Yeah.
Picking up kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go past your house during school time. I went, over the Christmas vacation, but I could see, and I know so many of the other schools have, where the traffic gets backed up out onto the street, and that's why I wanted to clarify that.
Yes.
So it's your opinion that the 95-foot would be better for you for consideration, not just the 45 feet?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I think we need to kind of take that into.
That's a good point.
Because, clearly, school's in session 200 days a year. So, or 180.
Can I get a staff comment on that fact? I can see in our recommendations that the following conditions would need to are recommended as being adopted. And one is the curb cut should be at location 2.
Right.
I guess we all probably want to understand that recommendation a little better.
Yes, location 2 is the one that the consulting engineer is recommending because it meets the site distance requirements. The 95-foot does not.
The site distance requirements for cars on the road.
Yes, yes.
I'm not sure that's the issue, to your point.
You know,
Are we at liberty to approve the 95-foot, and what are the implications?
The implications is that council would be approving something that doesn't meet engineering standards.
well, what he has right now doesn't meet engineering standards either.
Correct.
under the current circumstances, so.
Right, but with the opportunity to correct that.
Right.
It's location 95 or it's location 2, which is the 47 or whatever it was.
Dave, taking a look at this drawings here, it seems like the 95-foot opening is going to give you a larger sight line than a 47-foot
There's
one.
a hill.
Did I misunderstand that?
Yeah, the engineer says that location 2, the 45 one, is the one that meets it.
Right, I heard you say that, but I didn't get an answer on if you move it another 45 feet down the road, is the sight line a problem at that point? And having driven over there, it doesn't appear that that's going to be an issue of a sight line. Maybe it wasn't tested by the engineers for a sight line, but at the same time, it appears to be a pretty good location for plenty of sight line in both directions.
He did evaluate it. And,
Oh, he
and
did?
Yes.
Is this not in the report?
And it's in the report, and it says it doesn't meet the requirements.
It doesn't meet the requirements of sight line?
Correct.
Wow.
I can talk to that real quick.
This is the report.
Yes.
From the 47 feet line back to the 95, there's about a 2 to 2.5 feet push back. So what he's saying, the site engineer, and we had a surveyor come out as well, is that although you don't clearly get a direct sight line, a couple more feet back on the road to achieve the 330 feet, it still gives me, I think it was in the report, 260 feet. Again, our issue is not with the cars in that regard. We don't have any issues looking left and looking right and seeing vehicles coming in. What it does give me is the sights that I need to cross the path and bikes and carts.
Thank you, good explanation. On page 139 in our packets, we've got that letter, yeah.
I just don't, what I'm seeing on that particular page is a sight line from two different locations. Is that what I'm reading? Location 1 on the left side of the drawing. You want to pull that up? It's the last page on this, so everyone else can see what I'm talking about. I guess we're not. Okay. So what I see is that the sight line on location 1 is the one at 45 feet. Is that correct?
No, location 2.
Location 2 is the one at 45 feet. Location 1 is at 95 feet.
Correct.
And the problem is the drop of grade on item number, what is this, number 1 on this side? Location 2, there's a big drop in grade because there's a hill involved, according to the drawing, on the right-hand side. See the grade with a big hump on it?
But I think what they're measuring is the sight distance for him pulling out of his driveway, right?
Onto the
So
road.
if it's
Isn't that
dropping,
what
if
this
it's
is?
dropping down on both sides, he can see further.
Correct. I think part of the issue is that location 1 is further around the curve. It's hard to see. There is a slight curve that centered almost on his existing driveway. So as you continue around that curve to location 1, you get less sight distance because you're further around the curve. And that factors into sight distance. Location 2 sort of splits the difference and still has good sight distance to the east, and they both have good sight distance to the west.
Okay, I was just looking at the topography there with that big bump. You're telling me that is not in consideration. You notice on the
Right.
location number 2, it shows property, what is that, property grade there. And it shows that there's a big hump there. What you're saying is that really doesn't exist on a sight line.
No, that's the proposed grade. The other part of the engineer's recommendation, and we put this in the staff comments, is that little hump has to be graded, has to be cut out.
And that's at the end of the
for
driveway.
Location 2. It is on their property. It's, I don't know that you can quite see it
It's to the east.
here, it's just to the east, but it would be, part of the work would be taking that amount of dirt out, grading that out to make a clear sight line.
Okay.
I gotta say, I can't imagine a condition under which we would opt against the ASHTO standards.
No.
And with that in mind, I would say that I would be in favor of this with the 4 recommendations, 4 conditions that are shown on page 1.
I think our attorney's gonna weigh in.
I just had a question. Is he abandoning the other curb cut?
That would
And we're
be,
gonna close
that would be
that off?
one
That's
of,
coming up.
Yes.
that's one of the
That's-
I
recommendations.
just
they're
want to
gonna be
make sure,
taking it
because
out.
that was the whole purpose of the less curb cuts on collector roads. I
Correct.
just didn't want to, okay. Great.
Council?
Regardless of which way we go with location 1 or location 2, does anybody have any problem with putting in an additional requirement that we establish, say, 180 days for him to remove the old curb cut, based on, like,
180 days is,
after the completion of the new driveway?
that's fine.
I
That'd be fine.
it's just to make sure that, because on his drawing, and I don't need you to get back up, I think we got this covered, but he actually clearly identifies the proposed removal of the currently existing driveway that's gonna be taken out. And since we're trying to make sure we're giving him a new curb cut, I'm just trying to assure in writing that the old curb cut gets put back to a regular curb, that's all.
Okay. Yeah, anything else, council? Thoughts on location 1 or location 2, council?
Madam Mayor, what was you just made a comment and I wasn't sure which one you were.
So if we look on page 124 of our packets, there it is a list of 4 conditions that staff has added.
I got that.
And one of them, the first one, is recommending location 2 because it's a standard of the ASHTO, which is the American Association of State Highway Transportation Officials. And that's one of the conditions that
Yeah,
staff.
I was gonna say, I don't wanna do anything that doesn't meet engineering requirements. So I understand that it's not the ultimate wish of the property owner here, but I think, we need to go with meeting our engineering requirements.
Thank you. Council members, any other comments?
I can make the motion if you want.
All right, let's see if Justin has, maybe not. All right, I'll take a motion.
Okay. Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve agenda item 01-26-05, variance request for a new curb cut at 479 Crabapple Lane, provided that all 4 of the conditions the planning department recommended are adopted as outlined in the cover memo in the agenda packet, plus one other condition be adopted, that the section of the old driveway labeled as existing concrete driveway to be removed is removed within 180 days of the completion of the new driveway.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Council staff topics. I would like to see us revisit something we left hanging at the end of last year, and that is that massage ordinance. This is not our alcohol ordinance, it's our massage ordinance. Jasmine, can you comment on how we left it?
Yes, so in 2022, the mayor and council approved a revision to our ordinances that establish a regulatory fee for massages. This was at the request of the police department. We were having some issues with massage establishments, so we established this regulatory fee certificate. Within that ordinance, it does not allow for spas or massage locations to sell or serve alcohol. That's in 42-405F. The request has come from a well-known spa company probably about a year ago that has asked, they do say that sort of part of their hospitality is to sell or serve alcohol as an offering. It's mainly champagne or wine.
And unfortunately, our current ordinance in the massage does not allow that. We have been in contact with our police department. They don't feel that it is a problem to remove it. However, we wanted to hear from council to see if that's something you want us to explore more. And as we explore it, it may also include some addition, if you all do want to look at that, to our alcohol ordinance to add sort of a hospitality permit of sorts. But as of right now, no alcohol can be served at any location that does massages, essentially.
Okay, thank you. What I remember is that we have at least one retailer or commercial establishment who feels this location in Peachtree City is an aberration. This is the only one of their chain that prohibits alcohol. And so, I'm envisioning a bridal shower or something, going in for a massage and a glass of champagne. Council, I would like to hear from you. I'd like to revisit.
Yeah, I don't have a problem revisiting those. I'm wondering if though, I've heard this before, Madam Mayor, so I'm in agreement with you. But at the same time, should we be looking at nail salons also for just alcohol, wine, or champagne when they're having their nails and their toes done?
They are allowed because remember, the issue is in the massage ordinance, and even though they do provide a slight hand massage, our massage ordinance does sort of exempts them from falling within the massage ordinance.
Okay, so that's two different, your apples and oranges here. We're talking about the massage parlors are one, the nail salons are another, and the nail salons, can they serve
They can,
alcohol?
yes, they
Okay,
can come-
just
they can
making
get a
sure I
permit
understood
now.
that, so
Correct.
I don't have any issues with this at all.
Council, any other comments?
So
We
we'll
could
draft
bring-
that ordinance and we'll bring it back at a future meeting to have that removed.
All right, thank you. Next item under council staff topics is February council meetings. I think we have a conflict with the school's winter break schedule with our February 19th meeting.
That's correct. Also, so we currently have meetings on February 5th and the 19th. On the 5th, we have, actually the week before, you all have your retreat, January 28th through the 30th, and then the next week you're having a work session. Then the following week is what we're recommending the date to actually be. We recommend for you all to have a lull between the February 5th meeting and the 19th and just merge them together and have the meeting on the week in between because.
The 12th.
That's correct, the 12th, because the week of the 19th is when winter break is.
So you're saying no meeting, no work session on the 5th?
That's what we recommend, yes. No
Oh.
work session on the 5th and no regular meeting on the 19th and merge them both together to have them. I think a couple of you also have some vacation planned, so that's why we're recommending for you all to move it together to February 12th.
So it'd be the 12th, would it be a morning or evening?
Well, we're going to,
It would be evening because we have construction going on, so it would still be an
Okay.
evening meeting.
Councilmember Johnson?
And this is coming, that the 5th would be on the tails of us being at a retreat together, having discussed a lot. So I think everybody might be okay.
All right, sound reasonable?
My only concern is the volume of stuff that we have to address in February. Is that going to be do we have any idea whether or not we're going to put ourselves in a bit of a bind? Or can we?
How many? 2 text amendments? Do you have any variances? Or, you don't know? From a staff standpoint, if you table stuff in January, it would move to February, and then, no, I don't see a ton in my head.
So we're looking at the
I mean,
12th
I mean-
at 6 o'clock.
6:30.
6:30, sorry.
And if you all do have work session items just to discuss, I mean, we can ask to have them at the retreat, just to discuss the items, if that's something.
Yeah, because I do have a list. I'm already creating a list of staff things for the retreat, so there'll be things we talk about there, which based
Okay.
on how that goes, I'll have an idea of if you want to see them or not, and I can, if you do, I can wait till March,
Yeah,
April.
I mean, I'm just trying to be proactive as far as like not leaving us in a bind with the February the 12th meeting going until midnight.
I don't know, maybe we should check with Councilmember Holland.
Now, why would you want to check with me,
I don't
Madam
know.
Mayor?
I don't know.
I don't know, you have.
I don't mind
Just-
going to midnight.
It just came to me, Mr. Holland. All right, I think we're good on
You
that.
know, Michael could take over as the
Yeah.
big comment person.
There you go.
All right, item number C, annexation study. We decided not to do it a few months ago. I think it is necessary and timely, and I'd like to see us take up an annexation study.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. So you mentioned previously, we released an opportunity for an RFP for a consultant to come in and give us a view of our boundaries and see where there may be opportunities to expand those boundaries. So if I can just speak on, I guess, one of the reasonings behind such a plan. When you look at how our city is outlined and kind of lays, there's little land left for some of the development that we may want to entice or see as a city. Example of that could be if we're looking to expand in boundaries for industrial or for our open space, we would want to see what or how that plays for public safety, for example, right? How that would impact our capital improvement elements, things of that nature. So this particular project would look to see what boundaries meet state law for annexation, because there's a requirement that they must be immediately adjacent by 1/8 the aggregate boundary, right? And so it'll identify what are those boundaries that do that, and then identify if public safety could have the response times needed for those boundaries. It could go into identifying whether schools would be impacted, anything of that nature. So today, if an annexation comes to staff, we'll be doing that solely ourselves as staff. I think this plan itself gives the opportunity to look at it at a broader scale. So when the comprehensive plan comes about in 2027, we'll have a grander idea as to what we're seeing for our future. So that's just an idea of what this could do for us.
Thank you very much. We had a budget line item. We had a quote that came in under budget. Is it possible we can revisit all that?
So we have released the conversation for the RFP to allow for that boundary to, or that study to begin again. That money, if I believe, city manager, is available.
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, so then yes, the money is available.
Council, thoughts?
At one point, I really wanted to have an annexation study. I actually ran on that back in 21, 22. And then I got to the point where I don't think we need it. We know where we want to have annexation done. But in discussions with the mayors, there's the other issues, like you had just brought up, Shayla, that, we need to look at public safety. We need to look at other type of governmental stuff. Are we following all the laws, et cetera, et cetera? And then which of the methods do we want to annex by? 60%, 100%, referendum? All of those have to be looked at. So I have changed my opinion, and I think I would support that definitely.
Anybody else?
Yeah, for me, it sounds like a no-brainer, especially from a planning, strategic standpoint for the future of the city. And what I learned during the campaign was last study was, 2015?
2014.
2014. From a policymaking standpoint, that just seems a bit outdated. I mean, moving forward with this is a no-brainer for me.
My concern with it has been, and kind of sort of continues to be, that if we shine the light on what we're looking at trying to annex or possibly annexing, we could have developers jumping in front of us going after that property.
Yep.
And that becomes a competition then, that,
Well, we're not buying it, we're annexing it.
I realize that, but if they buy it for a different use than what we're trying to annex for,
We have control over that.
that would shut us down as far as annexing it, because we're not really necessarily looking to annex housing. We're looking for more commercial, industrial, mostly industrial, as the bigger option.
Madam Mayor, may I add to that?
Please.
As a part of your annexation, rezoning is required. So when that application comes before you, you have the ability to determine what that land would be during the annexation for land use.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, a developer goes out, buys property that would be in our way to move out of our current boundaries, and then starts putting housing in there and takes away our option to do something else with that property, or have somebody else do something else with that property, so.
Yeah, the difference is that annexation usually comes about when someone wants on our sewer. the sewer is a big consideration. It makes the property that much more valuable. So I think a study is called for, period. I'll just leave it at that. If we don't do a study, we don't even know what we don't know.
If we need a consensus, I'm in favor
All right.
of a study.
Looks like we're going to move forward.
Question on the study. How long do these typically take, and can they be accelerated so that we don't have to wait until 27 before we get an answer?
Yes, sir. That file can be completed within a matter of maybe 5 to 6 months. I mean, it wouldn't take that much time. We will have public involvement, of course. So we will have public hearings and public involvement. So that could be the only lengthy time there.
So maybe by July 1st, it could be brought to the council.
Yes.
We'd have public meetings
Yes.
and things like that.
Yes. Maybe
Okay,
not
so-
ready for adoption, but definitely ready for consideration.
Right, not for adoption, but to public meetings and so the study can be done in 6 months. I'm in favor of that.
All right, that's all I had. Council staff topics, any others?
I wrote a note I did not come prepared to talk about this one, but I wrote this note when we were going through the text amendments to some of the ordinances. Oh, no, Shayla, hold on to that. When we put in place back in October the moratorium, and we talked about making changes to the residential zoning codes, where are we on that? Because that's not one of the things that's currently like being slotted for the calendar, and our 180 days is gonna expire by April, so I just wanna make sure we're like on track.
So are you asking if it's still underway? Because it is, but I'm not certain what the question would be. Are you asking to extend it, or what?
No, I guess I want to make sure it's underway, that you're looking at, amending the ordinance, and if we're not going to be done with that before the 180 days would expire, then we as a council have an option to slightly extend the 180-day moratorium.
Let me defer to the city manager on that one. I don't really know on that one.
Staff is working on it, and we understand that the moratorium will expire in April. So we'll be prepared either to put something before council, or if we need to extend the moratorium for 30 to 60 days, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, staff is ongoing doing the work.
Any others?
One thing, and I'm not sure I'll do it for the next meeting, or if it won't be for the next meeting, it'll probably be, maybe it should be for the next meeting as opposed to in February, which is gonna be a major thing, and that's to, put adopting an invocation at the beginning of our meeting on the agenda. So, just letting everybody know that I'm gonna bring that forward again. The other thing that I think, and maybe this is something that we can put on our list of things to talk about at the retreat, Justin, would be how out of sync we are with some of our appointments to boards and commissions and whatever with regard to our council. And I know I've talked to a few people about this, but not necessarily everybody, that a lot of the terms start during one council and go into the next council. For instance, our Fayette County Development Authority person was appointed by a prior council. The term is 4 years, so that really pretty much covered the entire last 4 years until October. And I think it should be like a new incoming council now that we have Michael and whatever, we're full council again. Some of those types of appointments, maybe we should start in February or March of a year following the new council being sworn in.
So that's a good retreat topic.
It is.
Right,
Okay.
so.
Anything else? Councilmember Johnson?
Oh, I did have a quick question. Back when we talked about the city of civility last year, was that brought forth by staff or was that brought forth by council? Do we remember? Because I feel like, in my memory, I feel like we tabled it until the beginning of this year. I don't think it was, is that right? I just want to,
think
you don't
we'd have
remember.
to
Can we
go
just go
back
back
and
and look? If it wasn't brought forth by staff, I would be willing to bring it forth myself, and we can put it on the March agenda
Well, I think
since
it
February.
was brought forward by staff because it was something that had already been approved 2 years
Oh, that's
prior
right.
and was expiring, so we just brought it forward to renew.
Okay, so it would be a staff. Okay, thank you.
Well, bringing that up, I appreciate that. I was thinking about bringing that up and having that done, the City of Civility. We also have, and maybe this is due, is the City of Ethics, which are also from GMA. Does anybody know what the date of that is, so when it needs to be renewed?
They'll remind us, but we have it.
Yeah, I
But
know we had it from
they'll-
before.
They send us an email when it's ready to renew.
Okay, good, so we can look at both of those. Thank you.
All right, council, any others?
Yeah, the
My,
only-
my only question was, you want that on the next meeting, the invocation?
She's,
Yes,
Why don't we-
because February is so jacked up already, so.
Got it.
Just a reminder, in our ordinance now, she has to submit the information prior to the date, as long as she discusses it as a previous meeting, so.
say that again, please?
She has to submit the stuff for the packet for the next meeting.
Correct. And for it to be, even though you've mentioned it, you still have to submit the items prior to the meeting.
Yes.
All right, any other council staff? All right, do we have
Wait, there was, again, something I didn't have written down. There was an implication about being a bird city.
Oh, yeah,
In our
I said that
stuff?
to Justin, yeah.
Yeah, so, is there a desire for us to pursue that?
Oh, let's talk about it in retreat.
Okay. Put that on the list, Justin.
I have a list, do you have a list?
Yeah.
All right, Justin, any council staff topics? All right, do we have executive session?
Yes, we do. We need to discuss personnel and real estate.
Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we adjourn for an executive session.
I'll second it.
For,
need to state the-
for
Oh.
personnel and real estate.
Is it for personnel?
And real estate.
And real estate, okay. For personnel and real estate.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion